Hey, everybody. It's Val,
And Ty.
and this is Multiplane Podcast, and we have not been here for a little bit because the world has been crazy, but we're rocking it. You got your Mickey shirt on. I got my Spidey workout Under Armour, whatever nonsense on.
I
We're
almost
rocking it today.
I almost rocked I got a Disney Plus Day hat from a buddy when they were over there during Disney Plus Day. I almost rocked that today.
Really?
Yeah.
I want one of those. That's fun. So what's new since the last time we chatted?
Holy cow. Lots and lots of good Disney news. So last week we got the green light from Disney Plus to start on the Percy Jackson series.
So how much were you like freaking out
Well, so
when
for the
that
fact that it
happened?
was Rick Riordan, the author, who came out and gave that announcement, I'm like, oh, okay. I'm optimistic. You know,
Okay.
not saying that the two feature films that we had of the Percy Jackson franchise were a little lackluster once you deep dive into the books, but with Rick Riordan coming out and saying we've got this director, this is happening, I'm really optimistic, and I feel like this is one of those things that Disney, if they do it right, this can be another major world building franchise for them. I feel like this could be as competitive as Star Wars and Marvel
Okay.
because this dude has a plethora of mythology, and just the whole Riordan mythos is fun. So
Would you say I had a plethora of mythos?
a
Sorry.
plethora of mythos.
Sorry, I had to do a little movie quote from Three Amigos. Would you say I had a plethora?
Plethora.
I
Other
want to let you know, Ty, that I have red hair from also I'm a new redhead, and so I feel like I'm more one with the Spideyverse with my new red hair. So that's
also
all the news
really,
I have. So you can keep going with
I was
important
gonna
news.
say other fun news. If you guys did not see the post on our page from last night, we are
Yes.
getting a Goosebumps series on Disney Plus. R.L. Stein's getting that Disney money behind him. So viewers beware, you're in for a scare.
If
Oh man,
you're
I'm just
if you're
go
new
ahead, go for
to
it.
the podcast, Ty and I have a lot of years in between us. Whereas he read Goosebumps when he was a kid, and I introduced Goosebumps to my child. That's the difference between
Well,
did you grow up with Goosebumps or not?
yes, that was some of the first chapter books I was reading. Like I still have my entire original Goosebumps set. Did none of you ever watch So Weird on
I
the Disney Channel? Like I'm pretty
I
sure
remember it. I remember it being there, but I don't think I ever watched it. I do think Sammy watched So Weird, but I don't think I ever did.
if we can pull the essence of what So Weird was and still do, like I'm confident we can do Goosebumps well.
Okay.
So
All
then
right.
we also have Walt Disney World. We're getting closer to completion of two major rides coming soon. Tron roller coaster and the Guardians of the Galaxy coaster that's going to be at Epcot.
Yes. When are we going there? I know we keep saying we're going to go to Disneyland, but can we just like skip the land? And I know that's like not usually what I would say, but like can we just go to Disney World?
We'll start projecting for the universe to come up with a way to
To
just
get us.
send us to Disney World.
I mean, right now I have a lot of time on my hands. So hopefully not for too long, but yeah, so
Oh, we don't talk about Bruno just hit #1 on the Hot
yes.
100 list last week.
That's all Sammy is singing around the house. I remember, and I had to like call her out the other day because when the movie came out, I was like, "Sammy, you need to sit down and watch this movie with me. She didn't even want to go see it in the theater with me when I had my sneak preview of it.
Yeah, she wasn't there with us.
No, like she usually goes to everything. This has been our life, right? And she's like, "No, I'm not really into it. Doesn't look fun." And then when it came out on Disney Plus, I'm like, "Sammy, just sit down and watch this movie with me." She's like, "No." Now she's like, "I love it." And all she does when she's home is sing. We don't talk about Bruno. She does her little dance. And I'm like, "Have you seen Luca yet?" Because they don't talk about Bruno and Luca either. She's like, "No, I haven't seen it yet." And I'm like, "Get on it. This should prove that I'm right. So do it."
I'm glad you pointed out. And that was the first thing I remember. I texted you that. I was like,
Yep.
and Luca, it's always Silencio Bruno. And then they made a
Uh-huh.
whole song about us silencing a Bruno.
Yep. I love it when Disney does stuff like that. It makes me so happy.
Oh, and they have done a lot with the Book of Boba Fett. Like, guys, it's
Okay.
good to be a Star Wars fan right now.
Yeah. If you have not watched the Book of Boba Fett yet, this is your chance to pause this episode, go
Opt out.
watch it, come back. But if you have watched it, this is your safe place. You can say whatever you want. We'll talk with anyone. Put your comments in the comment bar. But I do want to say that this has kind of split, surprisingly, not surprised. Star Wars fans kind of down the middle. I am a huge Boba Fett fan, as you can see behind me. Um, and so I've been waiting for the Book of Boba Fett for a long time. Now, my husband does not care for the show. He thinks it's boring. And
Oh,
the fight scenes are lame. And our buddies over at Movies That Make Us don't think that it's that great either. And so we're going to get into it. We're going to get into what we love and what we don't love about it today and where it's going. So, Ty, the things that I love about the Book of Boba Fett, I mean, I already love that they are really highlighting characters that don't usually get highlighted in the story, right? In Star Wars. So Boba Fett, if you look at Boba Fett, he was just a blip in the Star Wars universe, right? He wasn't in the movies very much. He had one line, like it wasn't, but now he's got his own show. But now in the show, they're also highlighting characters who are just kind of blips throughout the universe as we got into, Star Wars and everything. So I love hearing the backstories. But this is what I think. When we are in the flashbacks of the Book of Boba Fett, I feel like it's a better storyline, and I feel like the cinematography is better. I feel like the fight scenes are better, and I feel like just the overall interaction is better. And then when we hop back into real time, I feel like it's a little cheesy. I can see that we're on a backlot. I feel like it's not, and I know that they need to make a difference, right? They need to show that it's a different time, but I feel like there's also a different budget between the flashbacks
two
and the
different
real time.
crews
Yeah.
getting
Well,
different
yeah, there's
budgets.
different crews for sure, but I mean, I just feel like things are a little bit more noticeably not real. Do you know what I mean? What are your
Yeah.
thoughts about that?
I've talked to a couple people who have not been on board with the flashbacks. They're annoyed by it. They want more of the new and upcoming crime boss thing, and they don't care what happened. And I'm like, no, 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 no. You have to have the equal balance between the two. And I hope I'm going to change Tracy and Jake's mind with a bunch of this stuff I'm about to dump on you guys today. um,
It's a tie dump, but not in a weird way.
this is one of those episodes, guys, where this is the fun thing. Val is an awesome movie person and can teach me a million and one things about film and cinematography. This is one of those episodes where you get to listen to Ty sit and just spew out random facts about the base content. um, so, if you guys remember back when we talked about, it was in season 2 of The Mandalorian, where we had Boba show up for the first time with his staff. He took down an entire platoon of stormtroopers. I was freaking out because I'm like, oh my gosh, Tamara Morrison is Maori and he's using Maori warfare in Star
Yes.
Wars.
Yes.
And now I'm super stoked because we get to see the origins of it, and it's actually the Tusken Raiders that taught him that
Yes.
form of warfare. And it's a tribe which fits even better into the
Yeah.
mythos
It's
here.
a native tribe of the land. I knew when that came up, I'm like, Ty is just freaking out right now. I love it so much. I love how much they brought something that's so real to us, as humans in the real world. Sorry, guys, Star Wars isn't real. Um, like the Maori culture. And they brought it into Star Wars in such a real way. Like, that's probably one of my favorite parts of learning about Boba Fett and where he came from.
See, and the reason I feel that it's so different between, and here's the argument with, okay, the flashbacks they seem cleaner, better, whatnot, versus when we come back to him waking up and being in this space where it's like, okay, I'm here doing this now. I
Yeah.
think when we have the flashbacks, it's a different feel because the once thought character, Boba Fett, everyone thinks, okay, Boba Fett is a hard A. He's awesome. He's cool, which, yes, he is all those things. But he hit a low point. Like he almost died and he crawled out of a
Yeah.
sand pit and was literally, he had a bunch of Jawas rip off his armor and he was scraped down to nothing. We have this different feeling, I think, between getting his armor back to when he didn't have it, right? So we go to the flashbacks and he's just this barely dressed, barely capable guy
Mhm.
because the whole thing was his armor was what made him, right?
Yeah.
So we're seeing the story development of how he's getting his new skill set, his new respect for the Tusken people, and just it's a different mindset. And so I think we have to have a different feel on the cinematography.
Mhm.
I think they're trying to take us into a spot where we're trying to relate and see where this character is coming from versus when we go back to the postmodern scene where he's, you know, in Jabba's palace now. It's like, okay, he has his armor. You have this expectation that he's totally back up to par and he can kill anybody and do anything.
Yeah.
But I'm grateful for the episode that we get where he's like, I'm tired, guys. I'm
Yeah.
tired of making money for other people and doing all their fighting for them. And there's the line that he says, I want to rule with respect, not fear. And I think the fight scenes seem like they may suck because he's not doing a lot.
Well,
But,
he's still healing.
well, one, he's still healing. Two, I think like he said, you're not going to get people's respect if you're killing every person on the street that comes in your way. That installs the fear rule that Jabba had. He's
Yeah.
wanting to have something a little bit more concrete. It's like, yeah, a person can respect you if they fear you because they're
Yeah.
always wondering if they're going to be the next head rolling down the road, or they can show you genuine respect, which brings actual loyalty to the dynasty.
Yeah.
So I think, and that's me just reaching, saying maybe that's why we feel two different shots between the flashbacks and postmodern.
Well, and I just think that um one, they do have to show that there is a difference so that our eyes as we're watching it can understand that we're at two different times, two different places. We've been to Tatooine a lot, and I know that a lot of the fans are like, "Okay already, like we've been here, why can't we be somewhere else?" But the thing is, you all wanted Boba Fett and you knew where Boba Fett was. Did you think
Yeah,
that all of a sudden Boba Fett was going to be in a different place?
it's like, oh,
Like
let's fly off to Jakku and become a crime lord there, or
But this
yeah,
is where he was, so he's gotta spend some time there, and I do love how, they've been talking about, like you said, he wants to rule in a different way, but even his people are like, "Dude, you've gotta be carried through the streets because that's how it was done, that's how people will see respect," and he's like, "I'm not doing that." You know what I mean? Like, he's pushing the boundaries, it's not always working for him, because he does get ambushed a few times. He does have to prove himself. People aren't taking him seriously. But I love that because I think that's real. Like Jabba and the Hutts, they have been, these torturous rulers forever. And if you don't follow their same suit, people aren't going to be afraid of you in the same way. And saying that you're going to rule with respect just leaves the door open for people to take advantage of you. So I love how they are showing the real life like reactions of that. But dude, like the little scooter gang that he's training.
Oh, don't even. Okay, so here's
We're
the one thing.
going there. Don't say don't even. We're going there.
Okay, and for my friends who are listening or watching right now, yes, I'm going to be a broken record because this has been my one biggest problem with this series. I have dug everything they've thrown at me, and I'm like, okay, I will take it with a grain of salt. You're giving me more Star Wars story, like I will take it. But the scooter gang on Tatooine, okay, it's like, okay, let's take characters from Blade Runner, grab some hover scooters from Back to the Future 2, and drop them in Star Wars and say, hey guys, go play around. Let's see how you do here.
Yeah. I feel like we've seen like the color. So I think what's so startling is the color transition between what Tatooine looks like and what the scooter gang looks like. I think that if they would have been more of like the motorcycle gang with this little scooter gang in the
That's what
coloring,
I've
and I
compared
know
them
that
to.
seems so simple, but just the coloring of the scooters and their outfits. If we were in Rebels, if we were in, any of the animated movies, it would make sense because those colors show up there. We've seen them there. But for me, and I know they're trying to grab the attention of a younger audience, right? They're trying to, but it doesn't make sense. We're in a universe where Rogue One, grays, browns, all of these, the only thing that's really colorful are really rich people's outfits and lightsabers.
Well, here's the thing. I said, okay, if you were to show me those scooters on Coruscant, I could
Not on Tatooine.
I could almost on Coruscant. I'll say that. The whole design I don't feel is Star
Yeah.
Wars at all.
Uh-uh.
Like I said, I feel like I'm looking at something from Back to the Future too.
Yeah.
But if we're on Coruscant, even maybe Naboo,
But
but
not during this timeline.
well, even on just Tatooine. Tatooine is a junker kind of. It's an outer rim planet for a
Yeah.
reason. You're
Yeah.
not going to get the nicest, most posh stuff on the
Even
outer
if you're a
rim.
cool even if you're a cool 19-year-old. Like
They're
it's
broke
just
though. They're broke.
yeah. Yeah.
They literally say there's no work, there's no nothing. It's like, okay, then if you're broke, I want to see junker parts being pulled from
Yeah.
different
Yeah.
areas and then making something that resembles the biker gangs
Yeah.
vehicles. Like, just then the outfits. I
Yeah.
get you want to represent yourself as a little bit more higher society, but just the style of it too, because look at the mayor, look at what's her name who runs the casino thing. Like
Right. She fits.
they fit their colors, their robes, just the colors, the style, the design of them. They are higher styled Tatooine people.
Yeah.
Again, I can see their outfits 100%. I can see their outfits on Coruscant.
Yeah.
100% can see them on Naboo. I can even see them, say, the planet that we visit when we're on The Last Jedi, the gambling planet.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
100%
Totally
can
fit.
see those outfits there. But again, the style's even clashing. And then
Yeah.
I'm not above saying that people can't go out and, mechanically upgrade themselves. Excuse me. But I need it to feel like it fits. The one dude has the big plastic blocky eye and just some of the other droid pieces that they're attaching to themselves. I'm like, come on, guys. We're not in, again, Blade Runner
Yeah.
or some 1980s kids animated cheesy cartoon where it's a giant machine like attached to you. Just stick
Yeah.
within your art form.
Yeah, and I get, like, they want to give us something new to get excited about, but when you've taken us to Tatooine again, and we've seen this time period on Tatooine, the only new thing that you can give us is a new storyline. You've gotta stay within the feel and the history and what we already know about with clothes. Now, I'm not saying we've seen all of the clothes on Tatooine. There could be people that we haven't seen, and you can add things, but you've got to stay within the color scheme. And like you said, with the different mechanics, you've got to stay within the mechanics that we've seen in that time. Because if there's one thing that we've seen a lot of in Star Wars, it's people building things and putting things together on Tatooine. You know what I mean? Like, we've seen the junkyards, we've seen the piles of rubble, we've seen people piece things together. And so if you show us things that don't belong there, it's automatically just going to stick out like a sore thumb.
Look at how many times we've been back and forth to Tatooine, too. Like you said, if this wasn't an established planet that we have constantly visited, it wouldn't be a
Yeah.
problem. It's like
Right.
introducing Jakku when we
Right.
come to The Force Awakens. Okay,
Right.
it's another outer rim planet. It's a junker yard because of all the Empire stuff that blew up and landed there. Okay, I
Yeah.
can see you trying to develop some new style. But
Yeah.
we've been to Tatooine and there is a road you have to stay within parameters. Like just
Yeah. Well, and this is, and this is what I mean. People are going to compare it to The Mandalorian because they're the same storyline, right? Like, where
yeah.
they live in the same universe. We got Boba in the Mandalorian show, and now we've got the Mandalorian in Boba Fett. But this is what was great about season 1 of the Mandalorian, is that we were in worlds that we had already seen before. They introduced us to new monsters, new creatures, new things that were happening, but they fit within the color scheme. They fit within the things that we had seen before. So even the monster that comes up through the ice, like in the
Yeah.
first episode, we'd never seen this monster before. But the way that they did it, the coloring of the episodes, okay, the
Hmm.
creatures that they surrounded us with, even though we had never seen the Mandalorian before and we'd never seen his armor, it still fits in with what our brain recognizes. And so I think when we get into the Book of Boba Fett and we see these other characters that don't fit within what we know and what they've given us so far, we're automatically going to get pulled out, and then we're going to be critical, right? And we've said this before. We love Star Wars. Star Wars fans are the worst because they know everything, right?
The difference between me and every other Star Wars fan is I like Star Wars.
Yeah, me too. And we're getting
um
critical here today, but we both really like the Book of Boba Fett, but we're
oh
pulling
no, I
apart the
love it.
things. Yeah, I've been enjoying it. I've watched most of it by myself. Dave only watched like the first 3 episodes. Then he watched the episode when the Mandalorian came back. And then I watched this week's episode by myself because I didn't think he wanted to watch it again. He's like, "Well, if the Mandalorian's in it, I want to watch it." And I'm like, "So you're a fair-weathered friend."
One more
I
thing
love you,
before we
Dave. I
tackle
love you,
episode
Dave.
5.
I love you, Dave.
One more thing before we tackle episode 5. Another thing that pulled me out, like you said, there's certain things that it takes you back and you're like, "Ah, you've unimmersed me from the
Yeah.
world," is the shop that he takes what's her name, to get her wound repaired. We're walking in, there's cyberpunk music playing, it's bright, you got this dude who just like, "Oh, let's fix her up." It's a bad, and Dave, I say this with the most love, genuine love. It looks like a bad tattoo shop.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
a bunch
Yeah.
of rebellious, dingy teenagers. "Oh, let's go get a tattoo and change ourselves and let's piss off mom and dad," kind of thing, you know? And I'm like, again, on Tatooine, here's how this scene should have played out. I wanted to see him walk into some little mysterious space that's got flickering lights, just dingy lighting, a rusty table, some tables with people sitting around who have
Mhm.
had mechanical upgrades.
Yeah.
And I wanted to see the character who is making them just be this weathered, kind of old, could have been human, could have been some other form of alien. I wanted a big old gash down the left side of his face with a yellow, slightly glowing cybernetic eye that's actually
You're
in his
super
face,
specific.
and just this old, dingy look and weather about him. And then a wall with all of his tools that he's sitting there just creating this stuff, almost like a nasty Tatooine version of Frankenstein's lab. Just
Yeah.
it would have fit better than having this posh, nice cyberpunk
Yeah,
tattoo
like,
parlor.
where did this come from when we needed it, episodes 4, 5, and 6?
Yeah,
Like, you know what I mean? Like, where was this? It would have been useful. So for me, it's like, okay, like, I get that we didn't see everything every time our favorite characters were on these planets. There are things out there but it's just so far removed from what they have told us this planet is.
again, but that's the thing. This is right after 4, 5, and 6. We know the timeline, we know the technology, and we know where the galaxy kind of stands at with their advancements. And yeah, they're already pretty advanced, but this is just, it's too far left for me.
Yeah.
And the shop and the scooter crew are my biggest problem with this series. Whoever threw these guys in really bombed it.
Yeah, I really like the idea of him
Oh
finding,
no, that's fine.
like the kids and being like, "Look, if you need a job, come work for me. We're gonna turn this place around." Like, I like that. It's just like change what they look like. I know that seems so silly, but it's a big deal. It's
I
the
would have been more.
continuity. Like people are like all crazy about canon. I'm crazy just about continuity. Like just
Yeah,
keep the continuity correct. If you're going to introduce that there's this other technology, then give me a story behind it. Yes, there are rich people on this planet, right? So underground, there could be some rich people fixer uppers. I get like it's not too far removed, but you're just expecting us to believe this big change without any story behind it, you know?
Coruscant again. 100% see this being a hole in the wall in Coruscant. Um, I'd feel more comfortable if he was walking up to like the group of kids that were at the pod racers in episode 1 saying, "Hey
Right?
kid, you want to come work for me?" I'm like, I feel more comfortable with that than I do these guys. Oh, and then came episode 5 with all of its promises and just goodies. And oh man, I just was geeking. These last 2 episodes, guys, I need to give a huge shout out and thank you to my wife for putting up with me. There's been moments I literally have screamed, freaked out, jumped off my couch, got up close and personal with the TV screen, like just, oh, there's some unreal stuff. And again, this is a spoiler episode, so if you're here, just join us for the ride. You're going to get fun stuff.
Yeah.
These are the 2 episodes that are giving the in-depth Star Wars fans, it's more, I can't even say service because it's so much more than
I
just service.
I have a question for you though before we jump into it.
I have a
And
million answers.
I already know the answer, but I want to throw it out there because people are saying it on the interwebs, okay?
Okay.
So, a lot of people think that these last 2 episodes were thrown in, not scheduled, because people weren't, connecting with Boba Fett, and so they threw these episodes that are supposed to be in the next season of The Mandalorian into this Boba Fett season to get people to come back.
This is on the internet somewhere.
Yeah,
I've
they
not
said
once read this.
yeah, I've seen it a bunch, and basically they're saying, yeah, they just happened to start, season 3 inside of Boba Fett because people aren't liking Boba Fett.
Who cares?
They're not doing that. Disney has a plan. So whether they're putting it in there just to get your taste buds to go into the next season of Mandalorian, yeah, they are. They want to entice you. They want to
Did
feed the beast. But also during the time that they were shooting the Book of Boba Fett is when COVID spiked again, right?
yeah.
So, oh, you look so cute, babe. Have fun at work. He's wearing his Spider-Man shirt. Um, um,
Did they have to throw Ahsoka or Luke Skywalker into season 2 of The Mandalorian?
Yeah. I mean,
No, they didn't.
they don't have to do anything. They just do what
That's
they
what I'm
want.
saying.
Yeah. But that's
That
what people are saying, is that people were disconnecting from the Book of Boba Fett, so they went ahead and threw 2 episodes of The Mandalorian in to get people sucked back in.
I
I
don't agree
mean
with that.
I this is the thing about Disney, is they're not a reactionary company.
We're
They
not Sony guys, okay?
Yeah, they give you what they want to give you, whether you like it or not, and most of the time people like it. So
We don't postpone a Marvel movie another 3 months in advance just because we feel something.
Black Widow.
Um,
Black Widow.
Morbius. um, okay, so these last 2 episodes, guys, holy cow. First off, Val, I want to hear your reactions and hear if you picked up on any of our fun Easter eggs. And I'm not going to cover probably all of them, guys. I'm just going for the really specific ones that give us predictions and things to come.
So I leave the Easter eggs up to you when it comes to this stuff, because one, in order for me to get the Easter eggs, I need to watch it twice. And I'm still watching and writing reviews from Sundance. I watched 33 movies in 8 days. So I watched both episodes one time. I want to go back and watch them again. Um, but I really like what was given to us. And this is an unpopular opinion, do not think that they should have put these 2 episodes inside the Book of Boba Fett. I think at the end of the Book of Boba Fett, they should have given us one of the episodes as a teaser for next season. Um, uh, I get why they did it, but I don't know. I think it was, um, I don't know. I don't agree with it. But saying that, I loved them. Like, I loved every minute of both of them. One, I loved the technology with Luke. I was afraid that I wasn't going to love it, that it was going to be noticeable, that, you know, they have improved the face masking technology so much from when it first came on the scene. I love seeing Luke Skywalker so much. He is like that happy place for me to go in Star Wars, and the fact that they brought him back in the last 3 movies and then they bring him back in these series just warms my heart, because Mark Hamill should get everything he wants in life.
Now, do you think that because of this, we're going to get some of the events of Book of Boba Fett introduced into Mando season 3 opener?
I think that their characters are always and forever going to overlap with each other, but
But as far as the story,
I do think that the Mandalorian, and I think that Boba Fett will enter into the world of the Mandalorian, but I don't think we'll get episodes like we got of this in Mando, just that are all Boba Fett. I don't think we'll get that. I think that we'll have them interacting with each other, where the stories are working and colliding together. But I don't think that we will get just 2 full-on episodes about Boba Fett without the Mandalorian.
well, no, I'm saying so because I think we have one more episode of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering how we're fitting this giant fight scene that I think is going to happen in one episode.
I definitely think the aftermath of whatever happens in the Book of Boba Fett is going to head into the Mandalorian. I think that's why they said, okay, look, these worlds are with each other in a big way, so that's why these 2 episodes are here. While this is going on with Boba Fett over here, this is going on with Mandalorian, Luke Skywalker, and everything over here at the same time. So they're trying to get us to understand these things are in the same universe, same timeline happening, and they're going to continue to interact with each other and overlap with each other.
So, episode 5, we get to go back to Tatooine with the Mandalorian. Actually, it's not even starting on Tatooine with the Mandalorian. See?
No.
So, we start out with Mando, and he is finding wherever the clan has gone to next.
Yeah.
I really like this opening scene. I had very Texas Chainsaw Massacre vibes to it.
Of
And I
course you
was
did.
digging it. I was loving being in this butcher area with all these dog-like aliens.
Yeah.
And as soon as he's like, I can bring you in warm, I can bring you
Yeah.
in cold.
Yeah, it was awesome.
So that whole fight scene, I love how we're getting the story behind the dark saber, like a little bit more
Yes.
in-depth lore of the dark saber.
Yeah.
And that's something I think we're going to get more flashbacks, especially because a character who has been with us since the beginning of Mandalorian season 1 is very closely tied to the saber now, aside from Din Djarin. And as soon as that name dropped, I had to hit rewind and be like, wait, what did she just say? So he's collecting bounty. He wants information. He finds the lady who does all the forging and the dude in the big blue, the Mando in the big blue suit.
Yeah.
Um, and we get to the point where he has the dark saber and the spear, and that just broke my heart watching that spear get
Yeah.
melted down.
Yeah, I was like, "Really?" Like, they just gave it to us, and then they just took it away.
So, guys, this scene is really important too. And I've said this, if you look at the forger's helmet, there are spikes on the helmet resembling that I feel that she was a part of the Death Watch, which was Darth Maul's faction.
Uh-huh.
Darth Maul was once leader of Mandalore,
Yeah.
had his special corps, excuse me, had a special corps, had these people who were devoted to his way of running Mandalore. And you can really tell during this first few minutes with the interaction between her and Din that as soon as she mentions, oh, you've been around Bo-Katan, you can tell the emotion that's coming from the conversation, that there is a divide between her way of thinking and Bo's way of thinking. And the flashback that we got when Mandalore was being overtaken was almost frame by frame of what they had drawn in the comics of when Mandalore fell.
Yeah.
Like it was just visual gold to me, and I was just in awe the entire time, just like, oh my gosh. It's one of those things where I always react when I see something that's animated or comic book come to a live screen shot, that I get that sense of this is really happening. Like they're really doing this, and this looks amazing. So I think it's very important to set up that I don't think, or that I'm getting all tongue tied because I'm trying to find the best way to explain this. There's going to be major conflict between the Forager and I can't remember his first name. If I'll have to look it up. Armando in the blue suit. He's a Vizsla.
Oh, yes, 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 yes.
He is the descendant of Tars Vizsla, the creator of the dark saber.
Yeah.
And I think what's going to happen here is they're going to rebuild their clan, and then we're going to have a serious power struggle between Bo, Din, and their group.
Right.
So we see her trying to train Din with the dark saber, and we learn, okay, you cannot fight the dark saber. It is not a sword that you can merely will to do what you want. You have to work with the saber and its movements, or else it gets heavier.
Mhm.
And that's something you don't see in season 2 of Mando
Yeah.
when he's fighting. It's like he obtains the weapon, he starts just doing his best with it, but now it's like, no, this is a weapon that you can't merely just wield. It's
Yeah,
something
I
you
did
have to
like
work with, or else
I love that they shared
it,
that struggle
or
of
it's
how
going to go
hard that
against
was.
you.
Yeah.
And the best part was, not even Vizsla's heir could handle the saber like he thought it was going to work out. And honestly, that first few minutes when it's like, oh, I challenge you to a duel. Okay, do you accept? Yeah. And I'm like, oh no, here's how it's going to go. He's going to lose that dark saber. Bo-Katan's going to come cut this dude's head off and reclaim it. But there was going to be some more story to that, like, oh, he's going to get the dark saber from Din, and then that's going to be one of our struggles that we're going to have to go through is them finding him, challenging him, and winning it back. But I'm like,
Right.
oh, okay, no, they fought. He proved that the saber is his, and I think the reason that turned into such a good scene was because it proves to the forger, okay, this guy has what it takes to lead Mandalore. Because she states, oh, if you can't wield it, it's going to bring the destruction of our people.
Right.
But it's like, okay, you're saying that prophecy, yet I feel that that's already happened. It was because when Maul took over Mandalore that it fell to crap, like it was trash.
Yeah.
So again, enough bitterness there. Um, the awesome Easter egg, the Naboo Starfighter. Oh, I loved that ship. And I'm like, we haven't seen this since Phantom Menace and Clone Wars. Like,
It's been a minute.
I used to have one of those too. Like, I had the action figure of that toy, and I'm like, this is such a sweet ship. And the fact that now it's all chromed out and it kind of has some of the weathered, rubbed off yellow on it, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have to
Wait,
start hitting.
I'm concerned because you said you used to.
Yeah, it's one of those toys that didn't last. I played with it,
You mean
and
you and
it
I
just,
play with our toys? We take them out of the boxes and we play with them.
yeah, I'm not one of those collectors. I totally play with my toys, but that's one of those things that popped up that I'm like, oh man, what an awesome nod back to our prequels. Because
And
go
I
for
gotta
it.
say too, like I love Mando's new ship. I mean, I really loved the original, like that there's a lot of story there and a lot of memories there, but I love his new ship.
For bounty hunting, it's not the best,
No,
and I hope he
but
finds
I think
another.
he's changing his ways when it comes to bounty hunting. I think what both of these series are showing us, especially with Boba saying that he's changing his ways, I think Mandalorian is also changing his ways.
The big one that I freaked out about was right after that. We're at the lady's shop. You see a specific little droid that gets attacked,
He's
and I
so
had to do a
cute.
double take, and I'm watching it. We had an awesome callback to like Jurassic Park when the lady gets yanked behind the thing, which is non-Disney, but still there's Spielberg references everywhere in this too.
Yeah.
Um, this droid, guys, for those of you who do not know, and I was like, okay, don't lose your cool. This could just be the same model, like another R2 or BB unit that's just happens to be floating around.
Yeah.
But as soon as she says BD1, I screamed, I freaked out. For those of you who don't know who BD1 is, so BD1 is from the game Jedi Fallen Order. And Jedi Fallen Order is a game that takes place after Order 66. There's some random Padawans and Jedi still scattered across the galaxy. And there's one in particular, his name is Cal Kestis. He's working on a junker planet for the Empire, just collecting parts. But then he has some situations that push him into using his force capabilities, and they're noticed. And then the Inquirers and the Empire come to collect him and kill him because they're like, this is what we do. We find you rogue Jedi that are still out here, and sorry, kid, your time's up. But this game is him escaping that, constantly running from them, going against the Empire. He goes to a old Jedi planet and finds this little BD1 unit, and it becomes his buddy. Because every hero needs a droid sidekick. So,
Yes.
um, and it's funny because in the game, it's a callback. When he first meets this droid is getting attacked by another animal that hurts his leg. And then you start watching kind of a little limp, which is what he does in this episode, too. And I'm like, okay. As soon as she confirmed his name, I'm like, this, guys, gives us that Cal Kestis exists. He is out there, and he was one of my predictions on the Jedi who was going to show up to collect Grogu.
Right.
And so I'm like, Cal Kestis could easily be the one who felt that Force call and is going to come collect Grogu, but it didn't happen. But now it's like, hey, this confirms, guys, he exists. His droid is sitting on Tatooine right now, so he is somewhere out there. And
Yeah.
100% he's going to come into play. And this is a character who I was wanting to come into live action because the game is so good, the story is awesome, and luckily enough, the character in the game, his entire look is based off his voice actor, so it's easily, hey man, you want to come play this character? Great, let's make some money,
Right.
let's go. Black Chrysanthemum is another one. How do you feel about the mean bounty hunter Wookiee, Val?
I love him. I absolutely love this character. Again, we're getting a new character that we really don't know, but he fits. He fits in with everything that we have been shown. You know, we haven't seen really this kind of warrior like this, but we understand Wookiees. We understand that in every aspect of character out there, you can have one that's rogue that goes off onto this side, right? And so I love that character and I'm excited to see what else they do with him. And especially, I know that him and Boba are going to have to come back together in some instance because they left that open.
But and he's new to you.
Right, but he's also new to the cinematic universe.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He's new to the
Yeah.
cinematic, and there's a reason why him and Boba are like why he does not like him. And first off, let me know that on Tatooine, the green lizard-looking race,
Yeah.
those are the like mortal enemies of the Wookiee race.
Well, I
They
mean,
both do not like each other.
they gave Boba a
A
Wookiee
Wookiee
pelt.
pelt. Yeah.
Yes. I was like, "No, they didn't."
Yep. So actually, the history, Black Chrysanthemum and Boba Fett, they both used to be bounty hunters under Jabba the Hutt. They went on a mission that Darth Vader had gone to Jabba and been like, "Hey, I need two of your best men to come do this job for me." Sent Boba and Chrysanthemum, and basically it went south, and Chrysanthemum was captured, and then he was sent to a gladiator world where
Oh, wow.
he had to basically fight for his freedom. It's pretty much Gladiator, but Star Wars.
Right.
Then those two Hutts take him up as their, basically just muscle. And when he wins him over, that's the thing is when he wins him back, and they're like, "Oh, keep the Wookiee, he's yours." And then he's like, "Okay, man, you're free, go for it." A
Yeah.
lot of people are like, "Why did you not hire him? You just hired these 4 kids on scooters to be your muscle, and then you have
Right.
this Wookiee that you just let walk out your door." But again, he wants to rule with respect, not fear. So he lets him
Well, and
attain his freedom.
he can mold these kids into whatever he wants.
Yeah.
He would have to break the Wookiee into, a lifetime of what he had been knows and it does.
And now he's like, "Hey, you're free. You look like you could use some money. You want to come work for me?"
Yeah.
It worked out in the end because now he's part of that regime. Um, Black Chrysanthemum, BD1. Oh, what other ones? I don't think we got too many other spoilers in 5, but episode 6. Holy cow, guys. I don't even know where to start. Like I want to sit and go from beginning to finish, but just
Well,
there's
and we might have to do like part 2 of this because we're hitting an hour. Um and so we might have to hit episode 6 and 7 coming up this next week and like really jump into those. I know you're just totally like jammed, but again, we could do this for hours and hours and hours. But I want everybody to think about this as you're going into the next episode. Um, did was it the right thing to keep Mandalorian away from Grogu? Like I really want to get into the reasons why that is a big deal. Um and I want to get into Ahsoka a little bit the next time we meet and talk about this, but so you have 3 minutes to give us final thoughts on what this last episode was and what you want to talk about next Thursday.
One, I don't think Grogu should have to choose. I mean, Tarz Vizsla, again, was a Mandalorian who was inducted into the Jedi Order. You can have the best of both worlds. You can. Only a Sith deals in absolutes. But this character, guys, that we got out in Freetown, as soon as I seen the silhouette out there, I'm like, there's no way. There's no way, no way. Mid pan comes up and you see him even closer. I'm like, they did it. They really did it. I cannot believe this. They did it. And then you see the hat and then this blue face that just comes up and I'm like, and this is where I was freaking out, screaming in my house, like, no, they brought in Cad Bane. There's no way, no way. And guys, if you don't know who Cad Bane is, go do yourself a favor. Go watch the Clone Wars and Rebels. You will appreciate Star Wars so much from watching these animated films or series.
Yeah.
Series. If they are willing to bring Cad Bane to the live action screen, guys, there's no cap. There is no limit to what characters they will. And then Cal Kestis, another example. But Cad Bane is the cherry on top. They will pull from comics, video games, animated, any entity of Star Wars. There's no cap. They will pull characters and do whatever it takes now to keep us invested. Any of you guys who are complaining right now, I'm going to get hate mail. Any of you Star Wars fans out there right now who are saying, oh, but this isn't this, and oh, but it's not staying with the originals, or oh, it's like,
join the conversation with us. Like, tell us why.
Stop.
This is why we're live, so that we can talk about these things with you. So I'm going to cut you off, Ty, because we got to go.
Argument.
But we're going to talk about Cad Bane next week. We're going to talk about the last 2 episodes. We're going to deep dive. We're going to get more Easter eggs. We're going to get Ty all riled up again. We're also going to talk about, there's some Disney news that it's going to be happening next week. I did see a movie that opens next week that Disney did not want to put out. We're going to talk a little bit about that. So we might go over an hour next week. We will see, because we do have a lot to tackle, but we want you guys to get involved. So when you see us live on Facebook and YouTube, please comment. Please let us know that you're here, and let's have a conversation. Again, we may not agree, but this is a safe place, and there's some new exciting things coming up with Multiplane Podcast and our other, I'm going to say sister podcasts, because I'm a girl and I can. So check out Movies That Make Us. We're doing a lot of fun stuff over there. And I want to put this little teaser out there. If you love Marvel and you want to just live there for a little bit, stay tuned. Stay tuned. Done. All right, you guys. We'll chat with you guys next week. Please tune in, subscribe, share, like, comment, do all the things. Bye, everybody.